Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Colorado Avalanche franchise mode. So in last episode, we had the off season, and we picked up a good piece for the future in Amari Roach. Wait, let me just not go to the draft class. I don't even know why I just went there. We picked up a really good low elite defenseman in Amari Roach for our future, as well as a couple medium elites for the future. So I think this team is definitely stepping in the right direction in terms of prospect growth. So as you can see, Roach is here on the top four, and we also got Sam Strudwick, who is a medium elite defenseman. So I think those guys should pan out in a couple seasons. And then also Kulp and Zadorov are getting closer to being NHL ready for the lineup. Same with some of our goaltending prospects, they're doing pretty good. Our franchise goalie still has not signed his entry-level deal yet, but he will probably by the end of this offseason, because I think he would be a UFA otherwise, or an RFA. So anyways, let's get into this season simulation, see if we could make a better push. So anyways, let's get into the season simulation, see if we can make a better push this year than we did last year, because the last few seasons we've been trending backwards in time. I'm hoping that this year is one of those years where we trend in the right direction. So let's go all the way up to December the 1st and see how we do. I'm used to simulating the entire season at once because I've been doing a offline draft to glory with the Calgary Flames. So if I'm kind of all over the place with this franchise mode, it's because I literally haven't played this one in maybe a week or so. So the preseason doesn't matter too much, but hopefully we could get some chemistry going with some of the youngsters. Having Darmour in the lineup now, he's going to be probably growing a lot this season. As an 82 already at 19, he should be maybe an 84, 85 by next season. So I'm excited to see how this guy plays. I'm hoping he's more offensively minded than defensively minded, but you never know. He has better defensive awareness than offensive awareness, but in the QMJHL in his first season, he was really good. So I'm expecting big things from this youngster, and I'm also expecting big things from Amari Roach down there in Colorado, in the Eagles. Okay, so season is going to be starting soon, as we are going to take on the Calgary Flames first, and then Tampa Bay. Two teams that would have been in the Cup Finals a couple seasons after. It's one season after this. So these two teams technically should be trending in the right direction. Maybe not the Flames, but the Tampa Bay Lightning at least. So here you go. First game of the season, if this simulation would work. And there you go. 3-1 win on home ice. Good job, boys. But then we lose to Tampa Bay 2-0. I think it's kind of cool, though, how Tampa Bay has reverted from being one of the worst teams in this build to being a contender, just based on how they've drafted players and how they've been growing as of lately. Le Cavalier is probably up there in overall now, because I made him as a starting overall as an 87 or an 85. So the dude should be in his 90s almost by now. So we're a bit off to a slow start, but that's okay. Hopefully we don't have much injuries to deal with this season, as we don't have the strongest depth in terms of depth forwards. We might address that at the trade deadline and might pick up some better depth if we can. But that depends on how we are at the deadline in terms of record. So 3-1 in our first 7 games. Game against the Sens, who are pretty much similar to us in terms of record. And we already have an injury, but that's AHL, so I'm okay with that. Our AHL team is actually doing pretty good to start off the season. They're 5-1. Game against the Detroit Red Wings, who are looking for their 3rd Stanley Cup in 5 years. That'd be pretty crazy if they do so. Last year's champions was the New Jersey Devils, in case you guys didn't see that, or in case you forgot for some reason. But yeah, our AHL affiliate is doing really good to start off the season. Hopefully they can continue that. So Nantel, where even was he in the lineup? Probably where Jolie was, I would assume. Maybe not. Scratched. Nantel is a center. You know what, let's just leave Nantel out. I don't even remember where he was. And I'm not too concerned about those type of prospects. I'm more concerned about our prospects that we just like recently drafted. So yeah, our AHL team is off to a better start than our NHL team, which is, I think, a first, because usually our AHL affiliate doesn't do the greatest. Our first and a second for Malikov, Marshall, and a third. I'm not going to do that deal, obviously, because I'd have to scratch like 2 defensemen on our team. It doesn't really make much sense. Like, it does strengthen our defensive core a bit more, but still. Czech Republic is off to a really bad start this season. Not a surprise, though. They haven't even made the playoffs yet in this build, so if I was them, I would start flipping players for prospects and making some big trades. Okay, so game against the Swedes, who haven't made the playoffs since the season where we played them, which was a couple years ago. Hayduk is back. He was never injured. And we beat the SHL team. Can we beat Chicago? We actually got a good little homestand going. 6 straight home games, and we've won 3 of them so far. Make that 4. Can we win our 5th home game in a row? San Jose is kind of trending backwards as well, because they lost like Jeff Friesen in year number 1. And so Ville Peltonen has been injured. Let's just go replace player, even though that's going to put in probably Tim Taylor, because Kevin Dineen is not good enough. He's like a 76 now. Like, he's dropped off a lot. I don't even know why I signed him, because he's like 38. But like, there was no other players we could sign. And we lose to Florida, so we had a pretty good homestand there. 9-6-1, or 9-6-2. I don't even know how to read that record really, but our AHL team is still killing it, 9-3 currently. And Peltonen is back, which is good news, because Peltonen's like an 83. So, and how was he playing? 7 points in his first 16 games this season, so he was playing actually pretty good. Probably because he's playing alongside of Jan Bulis, who we picked up last year, I think it was, in the offseason. Like, not in the last episode, but the year before then. And Vyacheslav Zadorov, so one of our best prospects, has been injured with a herniated disc, and he won't return until February. So that is a big blow to the AHL team, for prospects at least. I'm hoping Zadorov's not like an NHL, well, not an NHL, what the heck, an injury caliber player come the future, because if he is, then that's not going to be a good thing to have on the team, because we don't obviously want our top players going down with injuries all the time. And yeah, I'm surprised the AHL team is doing so good. Maybe it's because the goaltending prospect that we have down there, because we got currently a fringe starter. He's starting in the AHL, Brathwaite, and in backup we have a, I think we have an actual starter prospect down there, Gunnarsson. And then we also have a depth goalie, which is a medium backup. So we got some goalie prospects, and I'm excited for the franchise goaltender when he jumps into the AHL next year, I think, because he's probably going to be pretty good considering he was a first rounder. Like, most franchise players I find that go in like the later rounds, they don't usually play the best to their abilities, like in terms of playoffs and whatnot. But hopefully this guy is. So similar records between the NHL and the AHL. They're 12-4-1, and we're 12-9-2. So not the hottest start, but hopefully we could find our footing a bit more. Let's go another month. And I'm just going to have to drink some water quickly, guys, because my throat is killing me. Okay, so we're getting offered a 2nd and a 4th for Mike Dunham. No, thank you, because I'm not calling up a goalie from the AHL as my backup, because that would put like a 70 overall in net. Dunham is kind of like our replacement piece in case Patrick Wall goes down with an injury, because with him being old, you never know what could happen. 5-0 loss to the Rangers. Yeah, we're kind of struggling a bit. Like, our record is around 500, but hopefully we could find some way to start winning games. I don't know what is the problem, like if it's our defense or whatnot. But then again, with these ties and stuff involved, it doesn't really matter if you have a spectacular record. You could still make the playoffs with a record around this, so we should be still in a playoff spot currently. We're on a 2-game winning streak because we just beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. And we tie with the Mighty Ducks. Hopefully the Mighty Ducks could pick up their play a bit, because last season they missed the playoffs after they let go of Timo Solani, who eventually won the Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils. And Bullis is injured, so let's go replace player. That'll put in Tim Taylor again. Hopefully Tim Taylor could be pretty good in terms of depth, even though he's only like a 77. Our third and our prospect, Little, for the third and the fifth. No, thank you. I want to keep Little just in case he pans out, even though that might be quite a few years away. And we win 1-0 over the Flyers. I don't know why my voice is trying to die on me right now, guys. Like, I think it's probably just because this is the second straight episode I'm recording. Game against New Jersey, the defending Stanley Cup champions. And we lose to them. Yeah, New Jersey is probably one of these teams that could go for a second Stanley Cup this year. Because Brodeur's still like only 30 years old, maybe 31. So he should be in net for them for still quite a few more years. He's the highest paid goalie currently in this build, making, I think it was close to $10 million a season. A second for Cale Hulse. I don't like his contract, so I'm not going to take that, because 5 years at $4 million, that's a lot to give up for a guy that's probably going to play on your top 6 more. So, but yeah, I'm liking how the AHL team's playing. I don't know if it's because sorry about my voice again. I don't know if it's because of their defensive prospect. What was his last name even? I don't even remember his last name now. Murray Roach. So Watt has sprained his ankle. Okay, that's not that long term, only a week. And wow, we just beat the Ducks 13-3. What the hell? Damn, the Ducks must have really weak goaltending. 13 goals against. That is like the highest scoring game I think I've ever seen in a simulation. And we got another game against them. They're playing really bad this season. Even though in real life, technically, this is the year they went to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Devils. And Watt is back. How has Tim Taylor been as a depth guy? 6 points in 8 games. Wow. He's actually played pretty good. So say what you want about him being only a 77, but he's been producing. And he's not even on the power play unit, which is weird. Okay, so 19, 14, and 4 at January the 1st. Let me just take a look quickly at who's leading us in points. And it's Peter Forsberg, not a surprise. 50 points in 39 games. He's currently the highest scoring player in this build, I think, with over 300 points. Like, he's close to point per game. So, not a surprise that him and Sakic and Fleury are all tearing it up currently. So, let's continue the simulation all the way up to the deadline. Once again, at the deadline, we're also going to check all the other trades that happened around the league, just because I like to see about any players or any big trades that have happened. And yeah, the Ducks are letting in a lot of goals. We just scored 7 more goals against them. So, in 2 meetings, we have 20 goals against them. So yeah, I think they probably lost whoever their number 1 goaltender was. Like, I know they lost Guy Hebert like a couple of years ago to the New York Rangers, but I don't know who's their starting goaltender. Like, oh yeah, shit, they lost Ryan Miller, I think, too. Yeah, because Ryan Miller went to free agency. I hope he signed in Buffalo. That would just be kind of cool to see him go back to Buffalo like he actually was, because in this build, he was actually drafted by the Flyers, so it'd just be kind of cool to see him go to a team that he actually played for. And we beat Buffalo. Buffalo's kind of struggling because Hasek's dropping off a lot. I don't think I told you guys that. I think it was at the end of the last season, he was down to like an 82 or an 81 because he's like pushing 40 years old. Game against the Blackhawks. Come on, boys. There's a nice win. Yeah, we're playing good hockey now. Our AHL team's kind of struggling as of lately, it looks like, because they're getting closer to 500 hockey. And game against the Blues. How are they playing? Once it loads, if it's even going to show me. And damn, Adam Foote has been injured with a sprained ankle, so he's out for, I think, only a week or so. So let's just go replace player. That'll put in Mike McBain. And the Blues were playing good, but we beat them 5-1, so not too bad. Game against Dallas, who's actually kind of trending downwards. I think it's because of Ed Belfour, though. Because also Ed Belfour was dropping off a lot. Like, it seems like a lot of these players are dropping off way faster than normal because of how I built this mode. So who was that? That was back, oh yeah, Adam Foote. That's what I was looking for. So Foote, go back into the lineup. I think Adam Foote and Ozolinj, one of the two of them or both of them eventually will leave this team because obviously with our younger prospects on defense getting better and whatnot, we need to kind of make up roster spots down the road. But hopefully we could still win a Stanley Cup with Adam Foote on it. Buffalo's offering us a second and Gino Odjick for a second, third, and McDonald. No, thank you. I don't need Odjick. Like, he's a solid depth guy as well, but I don't really want to give up picks and stuff to get a guy like him. Game against Washington, who's below 500 currently. Ed Ward, a 6th and a 7th for a 4th. That's not a bad deal. Like, what overall is Ed Ward? Like, I mean, he would be a good depth guy to bring in. And he's only got a 1-year contract. He's a 76. I don't like that. That's basically like bringing in another Kevin Dineen, so it's kind of useless to do that. But our team is playing really good now. Maybe Patrick Waugh is going to try and go for his second straight Vezina, since he won the Vezina last season. Steve Staios is on waivers. That is interesting. 77 overall, though. He's still not a bad player, but I'm not going to claim him. I just don't need anybody with multiple years on their contract, really, unless it's somebody I want to keep around for a while. Like, I know we don't have salary cap on and stuff like that, but I'd like to keep around only guys that I think are going to be good contributors to the future. Montreal might make the playoffs this year for the first time because I don't think they've made it yet. And Ozolinj has now been injured. Hopefully we could still do good without Sandis, our Latvian legend. We lose to Montreal 4-1. Islanders are playing really good again. I think last year they won the President's Trophy. And we beat them 4-1. We have another game coming up against them, though, too. And Zadorov is back for the AHL after missing, like, 3 months or something. He was at center instead of Nantel. So there you go, Zadorov. He missed how much games? He only played 13 games. He had 13 points, too. So yeah, he missed the last 31 games with injury. That's not good, but at least he's back to the AHL team. Hopefully that could help them out and push them into like being a contender for the Calder Cup down there in the AHL, because obviously we want Zadorov and Culp to be really good soon. So Ozolinj back in the lineup, that's good. And we beat the Oilers 4-1, so that's actually 3 out of the last 4 games where we've won 4-1. So our offense and defense is playing really good. There's a 6-1 win over Montreal to get redemption for that loss a week before that. Game against the Islanders is for the second time in a week, and we lose to them this time. Okay, so we're almost at the deadline, and then we'll advance a day past it, because I don't think I'm going to make any trades unless I want to make trades for depth guys. Like, the last few seasons, it's kind of bit me in the ass not making trades, because then I don't make it that far. So I might make some trades if necessary. Like, I mean, our depth guys currently have been doing good. At least in Tim Taylor and McBain, I think. Kevin Dineen probably hasn't got to play yet. Dunham for a second and Steve Smith, no thank you. And our last game before the deadline is a shutout win. Where are we standings-wise? We are currently first in our division with 76 points. Tied for third in the entire league. Damn, Detroit's killing it. Boston's killing it, so Boston's going to make it back to the playoffs, it looks like. And New Jersey is top of the league. Forsberg's already got 81 points. I'm not going to make any moves again. I know it's risky not making moves, but we're not going to make any moves again. So let's take a look and see if there's been any trades that happened at the deadline. Hopefully there was a big blockbuster trade or some sort. Like, it would be kind of cool to see like a legend getting traded. So let's go down to the bottom of the list. Okay, so the Tampa Bay Lightning acquired Kale Hulse in a third and Alexei Gusarov, who's one of our former players, for a first and a fourth. The Pittsburgh Penguins got Jamie McLennan from Florida for Andrew Brunette, Bob Bugner, and Thomas Heika. Vancouver got a second or 2 seconds actually for Harry York, Dave Wilkie, I think his name is David Wilkie, and a third. That's a lot to give up for those guys. Vancouver also got a first, Huntonen, and a third from Tampa Bay. I think Huntonen was a prospect that they got a couple of years ago for Todd Bertuzzi. So Todd Bertuzzi has been dealt from the Vancouver Canucks around the time of his incident with Steve Moore. He gets traded to Tampa Bay, so he actually goes to a team that could win a cup this year. St. Louis acquires another second, and a prospect named Orsog for Andrew Castles. So Castles off to the Sens. San Jose acquires two firsts, and Thomas from Boston for Mike Ricci. So San Jose and Boston making a deal just a couple of years before the Joe Thornton trade in real life. Not St. Louis, what the heck am I saying? Sweden has acquired a fourth, and Christoph Olera from Germany for a fourth and a fifth. Germany has acquired a fourth in Sylvain Turgeon from Calgary for a third. So Sylvain Turgeon, I think, was actually originally on the German team, but I guess he signed with Calgary, but he heads back to Germany again. San Jose acquires Yaroslav Bednar, a fourth and a fifth from the Rangers in exchange for a third and Doug Bogger. The Chicago Blackhawks get a third and Jim Cummins from Calgary for Rene Corbe, C. Serrata, and a sixth-round pick. The Finnish team acquires Kerslazician, Joe Juneau, and Boyd Devereaux from Buffalo for Justin Barron and Tommy Vicola. So Buffalo picking up some prospects for some current good players. So that means I think Buffalo's in rebuilding state almost. Vancouver has acquired Johan Davidson from Toronto for a fifth and Bob Sweeney. And New Jersey's acquired Brian Savage from Montreal for a first, a third, and El Bissick. In our final trade, Washington acquires a third and Sandy Moger from Toronto for a third and Jim McKenzie. So no huge trades. I think the biggest was the Todd Bertuzzi deal. So that's a great pickup for Tampa Bay, considering I think they should be in the playoffs currently. Let's take a look at the standings again. Tampa Bay is currently second in the Pacific Division. Or not Pacific Division, why did I say that? The Atlantic Division. So, with the addition of Todd Bertuzzi, that makes him a legitimate contender this year. I'm excited to see how Tampa Bay pulls off, because if Tampa Bay wins the cup this season or next season, that's like exactly around the time that they won the cup in real life, so it makes it a lot more realistic. Also, I apologize if this episode is getting close to running long. It's just, it takes a while to sim this entire season, and I like to take it kind of slow in a sense, because I want to be able to get the story behind all the trades and stuff for you guys. We're nearly at 40 wins, and our AHL team is still kind of struggling considering how good of a start they had. Hopefully they still make the playoffs though. There's a win over Toronto, a win over Germany, and a win over the Flames. Not a surprise that we're winning a lot of games still. Can we hit 50 wins this year? I don't think it's possible. Yeah, I don't think it's possible now that we lost 2 in a row. 3 losses in a row, so the simulation's trying to fuck with us right now. Excuse my language if you're young. And oh my god. Damn, Zadorov is definitely injury prone, it looks like, which is not a good sign, because he just now suffered his second major injury. He gets an MCL sprain, and he's out till April the 30th. So he's out pretty much like the first round of the playoffs, and maybe the second if the AHL team makes it that far. So that is not good. Hopefully in the NHL he just does not get injured at all. Maybe it's just how the AHL is right now. Like maybe there's a lot of enforcers down there just like punishing him. And our last game, Mark Alt has also got an MCL sprain down there. Damn, 2 guys with an MCL sprain. We finished the season 48, 25, and 7, and our AHL team should be in the playoffs. So that is a very good year for us. And 102 points for Peter Forsberg. That is a great season for our top line. I think that's a career high for Forsberg in this build. So let's take a quick look at our player stats and then the standings, and then we'll see who we're up against in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, so Forsberg 102 points in 82 games, Sakic 98 points, Fleury 96. Now that's why I keep these guys together. They have good chemistry, but they are all getting pretty up there in age except for Forsberg. So hopefully Sakic doesn't retire till he's like 38 or something. Same with Fleury if we keep him around a while. Chris Drury 59 points, Sullivan 51, Hayduk 39. It kind of drops off actually a lot after that top line. Like we have good depth scoring it looks like, because no 4 below 28 points. Darmour had 24 points in his first season, so that's actually pretty solid. 80 penalty minutes as well, and 100 shots on goal. Yeah, pretty good season for him, considering he was our second best defenseman in points. Adam Foote there, Aaron Miller, Matthew Dandino, Tim Taylor 6 points in 8 games, Lefebvre 6 points, and Deneen didn't play a single game. Mike McBain was a +4. Goaltending wise, Patrick Waugh had another stellar season, 2.2 goals against average, a .925 save percentage, 4 shutouts, and a record of 35 in 19. And then Mike Dunham was actually really good as backup, going 13-6-2 with 2 shutouts, a .915 save percentage, and a 2.45 goals against average. Okay, so let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at the AHL player stats currently. I just want to quickly see how they are doing because they still have a couple more games. So Ralph Kulp has 41 points and 163 penalty minutes. Holy shit. Zadorov had 29 points in 30 games, so it sucks about his injuries. Strudwick 28 points in his first season. He's up to a 75. Jeez. This guy started the season as like a 63, so, and he's got 88 offensive awareness. Like, this guy's gonna be a stud. Well, I'm glad I drafted that guy. I didn't know he was gonna be an offensive defenseman and an elite player, but damn, he is gonna be a stellar player when he jumps into the NHL. Probably he was one of the main reasons the team did so good down there. And then, where's the other defenseman I'm looking for? Oh, Roach. Roach had 30 points as well. He's up to a 73. So we do have some good prospects getting ready down there. And then our goalies, Brathwaite up to a 70 still. Gunnarsson 68 still. But Gunnarsson played really good. 11-4, .931 save percentage. Wow. So that's good. Our prospects are growing. Our NHL team is playing good. Things are looking bright for the future of these Avalanche. Let's take a look at the entire league. See where we finished. Yeah, we got the President's Trophy this year. Good stuff, boys. President's Trophy. Goals for per game. We were the top team in the league with a 3.24 goals for per game, which was way above the Detroit Red Wings. Goals against per game. We were top 10. It looks like 8th in the league with a 2.3. Our power play percentage was the top of the league with a 23.8, so another good performance there. And then our penalty kill was just below, I think it was like 11th, 84.6%. We had 3 shorthanded goals this year. And then our home record was 25, 10, and 5. Our road record was also pretty good, 23, 15, and 2. Okay, so now the final 2 things we got to do is see who we're up against in the first round of the playoffs, and then we're also going to check the draft class. And I apologize, like I said, about this episode being long. It's just because it's really hard to get a season simulation done in like less than 25 minutes. So we're going to take on the Dallas Stars in the first round of the playoffs. So this is the first time we've actually had to play them, I think. But this should be a good matchup because Dallas should have still like some good players. So they got Brett Hull, who is dropping off a lot still with Joe Newendike. Ooh, where's Mike Modano? Modano might be injured, or they might have lost Modano already. Newendike at center as well. He's dropping off. And Yuri Lettinen. Second line, Jamie Langenbrother, Kip Miller, Joe Murphy. Third line, Ray Shepard, Sergei Brelin, and Jason Daw. And in the fourth line, Chase Lang, Sean Van Allen, and Ulf Dalen. So, yeah, this team does not look the greatest, but you never know. Hatcher and Zubov is their top 2. Shvela and Matvichuk is their top 4, and then Marchman and Wallin. So their defensive core is a bit stronger, but their forwards is kind of meh. And then their goaltending, Sateri, 75 overall and 62 overall, Klassen as backup. So yeah, they're going to definitely struggle against us, I think. And then, yeah, they currently have an injury to Ed Belfour. Don't know when he returns. And Mike Medano is also currently injured. They also have Joel Bouchard as a depth defenseman and Riley Demaney. Let's just take a look at those injuries quickly as well, just because I am curious to have seen how long Medano is out for. If he's out the entire series, we have a legitimate shot of knocking him out easily. So Dallas, Belfour's out with an MCL sprain until May, so we don't have to see Ed Belfour. Medano's out till the 16th, so he will be back for probably like game 3 or 4. So that sucks, but hopefully we still have a legitimate shot at beating them. And now the final thing is to check the draft class. I just want to see what is available, even though the draft is still hopefully far away for us. So there's a franchise center, Maxime Beaupre, going first overall. Center playmaker. Interesting. Finley. Looks like some pretty good players in this draft. There's another medium elite defenseman. Marcus Sturm is medium elite. Okay. I mentioned that guy in last episode. And this guy might be franchise, but he's probably not. I doubt he's a franchise player. If he is, though, that would be pretty insane. I might pin him just in case. Actually, let's just quickly assign the scout to his potential comparison. There you go. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of our Colorado Avalanche franchise mode. So in next episode, we're going to take it to the first round of playoffs where we're going to take on the Dallas Stars. And hopefully we should be able to beat them and get to that second round, because we're still trending backwards as of the last few seasons in this GM mode. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.